Matthew chapter 10, verses 32 and 33. Whoever acknowledges me before men, I will also acknowledge him before my Father in heaven. But whoever disowns me before men, I will disown him before my Father in heaven. It's interesting to note the two differences that are given here. To acknowledge or disown, it's one or the other. This would imply that to acknowledge is to own, and to disown is to reject or deny. We can only understand what Christ is saying here if we truly understand who Christ is. John chapter 1, verse 14. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. So if we reject the Word, we're rejecting Jesus, his Hebrew name Yeshua. So what was established as the Word of God in John's eyes when the Spirit moved him to write John chapter 1, verse 14? What does Yeshua himself define the Word of God as? Consider Mark chapter 7, verses 8 through 9. You have let go of the commands of God and are holding on to the traditions of men. And he said to them, you have a fine way of setting aside the commands of God in order to observe your own traditions. And verse 10, for Moses said, and then verse 11, but you say, and then concluding Mark chapter 7, verse 13, thus you nullify the word of God by your tradition that you have handed down, and you do many things like that. So what was considered the word of God? That which was established through Moses. And what was that? The law. He was the Word of God made flesh. Thus, he walked the Word of God, the law, perfectly. Thus, acknowledging Christ, Yeshua, you are acknowledging the Word of God, the law. And if you disown Christ, Yeshua, you are disowning the Word of God, the law. They are one and the same. And if you reject the law, you reject Yeshua. There's no way around it. Remember, he lived the law, and we are instructed to pursue his example. 1 John chapter 2, verse 6. Whoever claims to live in him must walk as Jesus did, which explains what Yeshua said in Matthew chapter 10. Matthew chapter 10, verses 32 and 33. Whoever acknowledges me, the Word of God, before men, I will also acknowledge him before my Father in heaven. But whoever disowns me, the Word of God, before men, I will disown him before my Father in heaven. So the question is, are you acknowledging or disowning the Word of God? Just a thought.
It is because of you, our generous supporters, who make it possible to offer these high-quality teachings completely free of charge. If you feel led to support 119 Ministries so that we can continue this effort, please visit testeverything.net and click on the Support 119 tab. Learn how you can partner with us to take the whole Word of God to the nations.